Gopi Janavala Bhagavadari Gopi Janavala Bhagavadari Gopi Yashodananda Brajajana Ranjana Yashodananda Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabihari Gopi Janavala Bhagavadari Gopi Janavala Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tiravanachari Jamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabihari Gopi Janavala Bhagavadari Gopi Janavala Bhagavadari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vrajajanaranjana Yashodanandana Vrajajanaranjana Yashodanandana Vrajajanaranjana Yashodanandana Vrajajanaranjana Yamunatiravanachari Yamunatiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjari Hari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjari Hari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjari Hari Jaya Om Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivrajakacharya Astatura Sutta Shri Srimad His Divine Grace Srila Abhay Charanavinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajakacharya Astatura Sutta Shri Srimad His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Srila Namacharya Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Shri Shri Gaurnitai Ki Jai Shri Shri Krishna Balaram Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Shyam Sundar Ki Jai Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories, all glories, all glories to Shri Shri Guru, Shri Shri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Tinamane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pastachadi Shatarne Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottama Devim Saraswatim Vyasa Tato Jayamudhirayat Nasta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 82. Chapter is entitled Krishna Meets the Inhabitants of Vrindavan. Text number 2. Please repeat after me. Tam gyatva manujā rājan Tam gyatva manujā rājan purastād eva sarvataḥ purastād eva sarvataḥ samanta-pañcakam kṣetraṁ samanta-pañcakam kṣetraṁ yayuḥ śreyo-vidhitsayā yayuḥ śreyo-vidhitsayā tam gyātvā manujā rājan purastād eva sarvataḥ samanta-pañcakam kṣetram yayuḥ śreyo-vidhitsayā tam gyātvā manujā rājan purastād eva sarvataḥ samanta-pañcakam kṣetram yayuḥ śreyo-vidhitsayā. Please chant. Tam gyātvā manujā rājan purastād eva sarvataḥ samanta-pañcakam kṣetram yayuḥ śreyo-vidhitsayā tam gyātvā manujā rājan purastād eva sarvataḥ samanta-pañcakam kṣetram yayuḥ śreyo-vidhitsayā tam gyātvā manujā rājan purastād eva sarvataḥ samanta-pañcakam kṣetram yayuḥ śreyo-vidhitsayā. Vaishnavis. Tam gyātvā manujā rājan purastād eva sarvataḥ samanta-pañcakam kṣetram yayuḥ śreyo-vidhitsayā tam gyātvā rājan purastād eva sarvataḥ samanta-pañcakaṁ kṣetraṁ yayuḥ śreyo-vidhitsayā tam, that, jñātvā, knowing, manujāḥ, people, rājan, O king, Parīkṣit, purastād, beforehand, eva, even, sarvataḥ, from everywhere, samanta-pañcakam, name samanta-pañcaka, within the sacred district of Kurukṣetra, kṣetram, to the field, yayuḥ, went, śreyaḥ, benefit, vidhitsayā, wishing to create. Translation and purport by the disciples of His Divine Grace, Srila Abhay Charanaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. Knowing of this eclipse in advance, O King, many people went to the holy place known as samanta-pañcaka in order to earn pious credit. Please repeat after me. Knowing of this eclipse in advance, O King, many people went to the holy place known as samanta-pañcaka in order to earn pious credit. Purport. Vedic astronomers of 5,000 years ago could predict eclipses of the sun and moon just as well as our modern astronomers can. The knowledge of the ancient astronomers went much further, however, since they understood the karmic influences of such events. Solar and lunar eclipses are generally very inauspicious, with certain rare exceptions. But just as the otherwise inauspicious Ekadasi day becomes beneficial when used for the glorification of Lord Hari, so the time of an eclipse is also advantageous for fasting and worship. The holy pilgrimage site known as Samanta-pañcaka is located at Kurukṣetra, the sacred ground of the Kurus, where the Kuru kings, predecessors, performed many Vedic sacrifices. The Kurus were thus advised by learned brahmanas that this would be the best place for them to observe vows during the eclipse. Long before their time, Lord Parashurama had done penance at Kurukṣetra to atone for his killings. Samanta-pañcaka, the 5 ponds he dug there, were still present at the end of Dwapara Yuga, as they are even today. Tam jñātvā manujā rājan, purastād eva sarvataḥ, samanta-pañcakam kṣetram, yayuḥ śreyo-vidhitsayā. Om jnānatimrandasya jnananjana shalakaya chakshur unmilitam jena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya manobishtam shtapitam yena bhutale svayam rupa kadamayam tadhati svapadantikam vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuddha Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitanscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarane Vancha Kalpatrubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. So I'm very excited to be here today in Sri Vrindavan Dham. And before I begin to speak, I take the blessings, seeking the blessings of all the exalted devotees that are here today. Please give me your blessings that I can speak for my own purification. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. We're reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 82. Chapter is entitled, Krishna Meets the Inhabitants of Vrindavan. And today we are just beginning the chapter with text number 2. So in the previous chapter, chapter 81, we heard about how Krishna welcomed the Sudama Brahmin. And it was a wonderful Leela of Krishna and his old friend Sudama Brahmin Milan, meeting. Very sweet Leela. So the sweet Leelas continue in this chapter 82. Krishna meets the inhabitants of Vrindavan. And the chapter began yesterday with text number 1. And text number 1 explained how Krishna and Balaram, they're there in Dwarka, and they realize an eclipse of the sun, a Surya Grahan, is just about to happen. And in today's verse, we're hearing about how they knew that the eclipse was going to take place. And that is through these exalted astronomers, these brahmanas, who could predict the position of the sun and other planets. And it's very interesting to note that not just Krishna and Balaram and the residents of Dwarka had received this news from astronomers that a Surya Grahan, an eclipse, was about to happen. Actually, people all over India, people all over the world who had access to expert astronomers, they knew that an eclipse was going to take place. And as a result of this knowledge, they decided, let us go to a holy place of pilgrimage. Let us go specifically to Kurukṣetra, because by going to Kurukṣetra, we will get great śreyas. We're going to get great benefit for our spiritual lives. We'll become free of sin and will accrue pious activity and will benefit from all the holy people and holy places. In Kurukṣetra, specifically mentioned in Kurukṣetra is a great facility for purification, and that is the samanta-pañcakam kṣetraṁ. the samanta-pañcakam. Pañcakam means 5. So there are these 5 big ponds that were dug by Parīkṣit after he had killed the 21 generations of kshatriyas and filled their blood into 5 ponds. So he made these 5 ponds in Kurukṣetra district called samanta-pañcakam, and he filled them with clear water. And these wonderful ponds became a place of great purification. So all of the yadavas are planning to come from Dwarka and go to Kurukṣetra, take bath in this samanta-pañcakam, and become purified during the eclipse. Of course, for us, the followers of Srila Prabhupada, we come here to the samanta-pañcakam of Krishna Balaram Mandir. And we become purified by performing the sacrifice, the yajna of Harinam Sankirtan, the chanting of Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare. So in the purport today, it's explained about how expert astronomers were at that time. They didn't need calculators, they didn't need computers, they didn't need AI. They could immediately understand through their calculations when the Surya Grahan would come. And it is mentioned in the purport today, but as an otherwise inauspicious Ekadashi day becomes beneficial when used for the glorification of Lord Hari, so the time of an eclipse is also advantageous for fasting and worship. So Ekadashi, astrologically speaking, they say it's useless for anything except for devotional service, doing puja, associating with devotees, satsang, and chanting. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So similarly, this Surya Grahan, the eclipse of the sun, is very, very inauspicious, but it is advantageous, as mentioned in the purport today, that it's advantageous for fasting and worship. So later on in this chapter, we'll hear the whole description of how the Yadavas and other devotees went to Kurukṣetra and observed the fasting and did different kinds of puja. Further in the purport, we hear about the importance of real benefit, shreyas and prayas. Shreyas means that will give us real benefit, and prayas means that which is comfortable. So we want to give up what is comfortable in order to embrace what is beneficial for us. Srila Prabhupada gives the example of the schoolboy. He doesn't want to go to school. He just wants to play. But if he just plays all the time, it will be very comfortable. He'll be happy for a short time. But later, he will be losing out on any benefit of that education. So Srila Prabhupada says we should give up comfort, prayas, in order to embrace shreyas, our real spiritual benefit. We see in the West today, especially, the mood is the opposite. People want what makes them comfortable, and they don't care what will give them lasting benefit. There's a famous slogan, just do it. Just do what makes you comfortable. Just do what makes you happy. And don't think about the consequences. And don't think about what will give real benefit. But the Katha Upanishad 1.2.2 explains the importance of śreyas and prayas. And this is a verse often quoted by Srila Prabhupada that I'd like to share right now. Katha Upanishad 1.2.2. Shreyascha prayascha manashyam tam paritya viviknakti diyaraha śreyo-vidhitsayā vipreshya vritnite preho mando yoga shamad vrinite. That both good and pleasant, śreyas and prayas, are presented to all of us. We all have the opportunity. We can choose any time, śreyas or prayas. The wise man, dhiro, one who is dhiro, the wise man examines both. He does parīkṣit, he does an examination, and discriminates. He has power of discrimination. The mind does thinking, feeling, and willing, and the intelligence discriminates. So the wise man uses the power of discrimination. He discriminates between good and pleasant. And the wise man prefers the good. But the ignorant man chooses pleasant for the sake of bodily comfort and his desires. So this is a very deep verse, a very deep concept. We all have a choice. Anytime Krishna has given us free will, we can choose śreyas or we can choose prayas. An intelligent person discriminates and understands and chooses śreyas, that which will benefit. But the foolish, ignorant person chooses prayas for bodily comforts and desires, material desires. Thus, it's very important to embrace this concept of tapasya. Tapasya is the wealth of the brahmanas. And Srila Prabhupada encouraged devotees to come to Sri Vrindavan Dham and do tapasya. And the tapasya that Srila Prabhupada recommended is devotional service. Specifically, Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama Valam. Kolonasteva nasteva nasteva gatiranyata. The tapasya of engaging in the Yuga Dharma, the chanting of Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Real śreyas, real benefit, means the association of devotees. Srila Prabhupada is so kind that he's given us ISKCON, the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, which gives us the facility to come together to hear and chant about Krishna. So this is our greatest śreyas. Raja Vidya Rajaguyam, Raja Vidya Rajaguyam, Pavitram Idam Uttamam, Pavitram Idam Uttamam, Prajakshavāgamam Dharmyam, Prajakshavāgamam Dharmyam, Susukam Kartam Avyayam, Susukam Kartam Avyayam. Raja Vidya, Bhagavad Gita is teaching us about the king of knowledge. Rajaguyam is the king of secrets. Ignorant people do not know this secret. And what is this secret? Prajakshavāgamam Dharmyam. It's experienced. We can experience it through our senses practically. pradakshava gamam dharmyam, and it brings sukham. Sukha means happiness. Su means very, very much happy. Superman! We get super happiness. Sukham. Kartam avyayam. Avyayam means everlasting. It's an everlasting happiness. So is Raja Vidya shreyas or prayas? It's shreyas. Why? Because avyayam. It gives everlasting happiness. So this is real shreyas that we'll learn in association of Srila Prabhupada's devotees. Gives real happiness, and it's everlasting happiness. On the other hand, prayas means that which will ultimately lead to suffering. Chapter 5, text 22 of Bhagavad Gita explains, Yehi samsparsha jaboga, Yehi samsparsha jaboga, dukkhayo naiva evate, dukkhayo naiva evate, yadantavanta konteya, yadantavanta konteya, nateshu ramate buddhaha, nateshu ramate buddhaha, yehi samsparsha jaboga. When we try to enjoy the senses, to get some temporary comfort, some temporary so-called happiness, some prayas, through the sparshas, through the sense gratification, tasting this, touching that, smelling this, seeing that, dukkha yonaiva evate, just brings dukh. Dukh means suffering. Yonaiva. Yonaiva is the birth canal by which we are born. So suffering, dukh, is born through yehi samsparsha jaboga, born from this material sense gratification. Yehi samsparsha jaboga, dukkha yonaiva evate, yadantavanta konteha, na teshu ramate buddha. Ramate means to try to enjoy and experience. Not an intelligent person, buddha, will ramate, will try to enjoy these things. It's just prayas. It just leads to suffering. And Srimad Bhagavatam explains, what tastes like poison in the beginning tastes like nectar in the end. And what tastes like nectar in the beginning tastes like poison in the end. So we may not have a taste for devotional service. We may not have a taste for association of devotees. We may not have a taste for Srimad Bhagavatam. We may not have a taste for chanting the holy names. But if we just take up this process, as Srila Prabhupada taught us, the process of devotional service, we will get shreyas, lifelong, life after life after life, eternal benefit. And at the end of this life, we can go back home, back to Godhead. So devotees conclude the purport today by speaking about Lord Parashuram. And they explain that the Kurus were thus advised by learned Brahmanas that this would be the best place for them to observe vows during the eclipse. Which place? Kurukṣetra. Sanjaya uvacha dharma kṣetre Kurukṣetre samavetaya yutsavaha mamaka pandavas chaiva kim akurvata Sanjaya. Sanjay asked, now that the Pandavas and the Kauravas have come here to this most pious place of Kurukṣetra, which is Dharma Kṣetra, then what did they do? They came here to fight. So the fight was about to happen in Bhagavad Gita. So what are the different elements that made Kurukṣetra Dharma Kṣetra? So one of them is the wonderful Leela of Lord Parashuram. And it's mentioned in the purport today. Yes, Purport of text 2. Lord Parashuram had done penance at Kurukṣetra to atone for his killings. Samanta-pañcaka, the 5 ponds he dug there, were still present at the end of Dwapara Yuga as they are even today. Who here has been to Kurukṣetra? Who here has been to the Samanta-pañcaka? Beautiful place. Even today, huge ponds, like big reservoirs, massive bodies of water. And they're like enclosed like ghats, huge construction endeavors, amazing, from earlier yugas, amazing construction. So please visit this place. It's such an inspiring place to visit, and not so far from here. You can go for Rath Yatra in Kurukṣetra and then go for Samanta-pañcaka darshan. Also interesting, before we get to the Parashuram Lila, interesting to note that this chapter where Krishna and Balaram and the Yadavas are coming to Kurukṣetra, they're going to meet Nanda Maharaj and the residents of Vrindavan. They're also coming to Kurukṣetra. And when Nanda Maharaj and the residents of Vrindavan, Mother Yashoda, and the gopis, they meet Krishna, it's a historical event in our Gaudiya Vaishnava theology, because we hear about the Vipralamba Bhav, the separation of the residents of Vrindavan for Krishna. And it's here in Kurukṣetra that Krishna and the residents of Vrindavan are again, Sambhog, reunited! Haribo! Jai Ho, Jai Ho. And there's a wonderful event where the residents of Vrindavan, Rohini, and the other intimate residents, they're asked by the Dwarkavasis, the queens of Dwarka and others, tell us about your feelings of separation for Krishna and Balaram. And the residents of Vrindavan were reluctant. How can we tell you about that separation? Krishna and Balaram are here. If they hear about it, they will become so upset. They will become filled with emotion. No, we cannot do it. And then the residents of Dwarka said, please tell us. We'll put a guard at the gate of the pandal to stop Krishna and Balaram from coming in to hear about your feelings of separation. And the residents of Vrindavan said, who could be the guard that would stop Krishna and Balaram? And they suggested, Subhadra Mai ki jai. So Subhadra Mai agreed to do this seva. So she stood at the front of the pandal. And inside the pandal, the residents of Vrindavan were narrating their feelings of intense lamentation and longing and separation for Krishna and Balaram. And Krishna and Balaram could sense that something very special was happening. They were attracted. And Krishna and Balaram, they came to the pandal. And they were trying to hear what was going on. And they were hearing from the front. And Subhadra was trying to stop them. But they could hear, Krishna and Balaram could hear what was going on. And as they heard and heard, Krishna and Balaram's eyes got bigger and bigger and bigger. And their arms pulled into their bodies. And they became stunned and motionless. And their bodies became hard like wood. And they took on the forms of Jagannath, Baladev, and Subhadra! With big smiles. Shri Shri Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra ki jai. So soon Jagannath Rath Yatra is coming up. In just a few days, we had Snan Yatra. On 27th of this month will be Rath Yatra in Sri Mathura Dham. The first ISKCON Jagannath Rath Yatra in Mathura happened in 1996 during the centennial celebrations. And all the devotees went from Sri Vrindavan Dham. This was during Kartik Mas. It was filled with devotees. They all went for this festival, including His Grace Ayendra Prabhu. Amazing. Everyone went. And the kirtan was amazing. And all the residents of Mathura were decorating the devotees with chandan and showering flowers. And it's such an amazing festival. So those of us who are here in Vrindavan, please on 27th, attend this wonderful Jagannath Rath Yatra festival in Mathura. And by Srila Prabhupada's mercy, now Rath Yatra is going on all over the world. I've been invited to so many Rath Yatra festivals on the same day. It's challenging, but a wonderful, sweet challenge, where to go for Rath Yatra. I'll be in Noida on the 27th. I already committed. I did not know there would be Mathura Rath Yatra that day. So Rath Yatra represents the gopis pulling Krishna back to their hearts, back to Vrindavan. So by engaging in Rath Yatra, we bring Krishna from Dwarka back into our hearts, to Vrindavan. Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. So just before I conclude today, I want to just briefly narrate this Parashuram Leela. So Parashuram is an incarnation of Krishna. He's an avatar. So Parashuram, he was a great Brahmana, and then his father was killed by Jamadagni, who was not a demon, but a fallen Kshatriya, a bogus Kshatriya. Shamodamas tapas shocham shantir arjavam evacha. Ashuryam tejo drutir daksham yudhe chapya palayanam. Dhanam ishwaram bhavascha kṣetram karma swabhavajam. These are the qualities of the Kshatriya. Yudhe chapya palayanam. They're ahead in the front of the battle, fighting for dharma. But Jamadagni was not like that. He killed mercilessly Parashuram's father. So Parashuram, he took up his axe, his chopper, and he said, I will avenge the death of my father. I will punish these Kshatriyas, not out of anger, but because I will free them from their karma. And I will free the world from these impious kings. Yada yada hi dharmasya Glanir bharati bharata Abhyutanam adharmasya Tadatmanam shrujamyaham. So Krishna descends to this world whenever there's a decline in religious principles and a corresponding rise in irreligion. At that time, I descend myself, Krishna says. So this is part of the mission of Krishna, to rid the world of demoniac kings. So Parashuram took his chopper, went into the battlefield, and beheaded all the impious kings, thousands and thousands of them. His chopper was moving like the wind. And all the heads of the impious kings were landing. There were pools and pools and pools of blood filling up 5 big lakes. So despite being a righteous maneuver to destroy these impious kings, still Parashuram set the example for us that we should atone for sinful activities. He's not subject to sinful activities. Chatur varnyamaya shustam guna karma vibhaga shaha tasyam arkartram apimam vidyakartram avyayam. He's not subject. The Lord is not subject to the same laws as the human beings. He's not an ordinary person. Mudha considers the Lord an ordinary person. But still, to set the example, yad yad archarati shrestas, tattadevataro janaha, sayat pramanam kute, lokastad anuvartate. Whatever example a great man performs, common people follow. So Parashuram set the example, went to Kurukṣetra, performed tapasya, performed penances, dug these 5 great lakes called the Pañcaka, called the samanta-pañcakam. So he dug the samanta-pañcakam, performed his tapasya, his austerities, set the example for us. And today, the samanta-pañcakam, kṣetram, is still there. And we can perform the śreyaḥ. We can perform the beneficial activity of going there and getting the benefit. Or coming here to Krishna Balaram Mandir and getting the benefit. Srila Prabhupada gave devotees all over the world the opportunity for śreyaḥ, for benefit. We don't have to wait for the eclipse to come. We can get the benefit anytime by coming in the association of devotees and chanting the holy names. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So, don't wait for the eclipse. Choose śreyaḥ now. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Are there any comments or questions? Yes, Haladini Prabhu.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for such an enlightening and entertaining class in the best of ways. There seems to be an art of balancing śreyaḥ and prayas. In other words, in the pastime of the service to God, we know that he is purified of pride, and he's so perfectly balanced, so austere. So sometimes we neophytes like myself, too much endeavor to be very austere leads to disappointment, disgust, or discouragement that can set one back. Can you please talk about how we can balance our...
Thank you. Thank you, Houdini Prabhu, for bringing up this very important point of how to balance śreyaḥ and prayas. If we're just austere, then Srila Prabhupada writes, our hearts can become hard-hearted. And we think, I'm austere, I'm performing austerities, everyone else should be austere and perform austerities. We become hard-hearted. And we should balance śreyaḥ and prayas by taking comfort and pleasure in devotional activities. When we go for the Raj Bhog Mahaprasadam, is it delicious? Yes. Is it comfortable? Yes, as long as we don't eat too much. Is it beneficial? Is it śreyaḥ? Yes. So we can, within the devotional sphere, we can balance both śreyaḥ and prayas by taking pleasure in devotional activities, by taking pleasure in chanting the holy names. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So the expert bhakti artist, as you said, it's an art to balance the two. The expert bhakti artist will take pleasure in śreyaḥ, can I say śreyatic? Śreyatic activities, activities that are filled with śreyaḥ. Kevala ananda kanda, that this process is simply joyful. And if we take shelter of the joyful process of bhakti, that will enable us to properly balance shreyas and prayas. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does.
Thank you so much, Ladini Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Are there any other questions or comments? Yes, Ananya Mataji, and then we have Narayan Prabhu. Please hand her the mic. Parama karuna bhavati. Yes. What does it mean to create shreyas in today's context? Thank you so much. As I mentioned during the class, Srila Prabhupada gave us this wonderful ISKCON, which is an opportunity, it's a facility where we can come together with devotees and do Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmanivedanam. We can do all these wonderful processes. I remember 1991 going to the airport in New York City with Ladini Prabhu, distributing books in the airport. And he was always so blissful doing the book distribution. So this is Srila Prabhupada's mercy. He's given us this opportunity to engage in Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan movement, which is Anandam Buddhivardhanam Pratipadam Purna Amrita Svadanam, an ever-expanding ocean of bliss. So we engage in the Harinam Sankirtan movement. We hear and chant, we do sadhana, we engage in Bhagavatam, we go for big festivals. You and I were just at a wonderful Krishna Bandhu's Sangam festival in Govardhan. 1,000 youth from all over India together, so young, so enthusiastic, so sincere, wonderful prasadam, wonderful kirtans, lectures, sangha, the chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. So shreyas in a modern day context means receiving the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, Lord Chaitanya, and our beloved Parampara. Does that answer your question? Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Okay, can you hand mic here? I think this will be last question, comment. Narayan Prabhu. Yes, please go ahead.
Thank you so much for this wonderful class. So my question was, what's an example of a devotee in scriptures who chose prayers and suffered?
What's an example of a devotee in scriptures who chose prayas and suffered? Brahman. Problem. So yeah, if we choose prayas, we get a problem. So which devotee chose prayas and got a problem? Ajamil! Haribol! Yes, true. Absolutely true. Ajamil, Yayati Maharaj, yeah, he got in a problem. Became a lizard, right? Ajamil, this topic especially is so dear to my heart because it shows that one can create a problem by choosing prayas. Ajamil was a great brahmana as a young boy. Then he saw a prostitute embracing a Sudra in the forest. Then Ajamil brought that prostitute home with him, kicked his mother, father, and wife out of the house, began to enjoy with that prostitute, and even up to the age of 80, he was having children, had 12 children, very sinful, killing people, murdering, stealing, burning people's homes, and he was on his deathbed. And so he chose prayas. So what happened on his deathbed? The Yamadutas came. Yamadutas. with angry eyes, sharp nails, sharp teeth, ropes, chains, whips, and they grabbed his subtle body and began to pull it out of his body, and he cried out, Narayana! And the Vishnu Dutas appeared and saved him, and he got a second chance. That book we used to distribute all the time in the New York airport, Second Chance. So the wonderful thing about the story of Ajamil is he chose prayas. He made a mistake, but he was not eternally damned. There was no eternal damnation. By the power of the holy name, by the power of devotional service, Ajamil was redeemed and ultimately went back home, back to Godhead. Harinam Prabhu ki jai. Does that answer your question, Narayan Prabhu? Thank you so much. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.